and that's actually someone I kind of, it wasn't a trade, but I had in my predictions that the Mariners should pick him up. You pick it. No, there's two.
That's the only problem.
I agree. Well, I agree. You don't have to pay him anything. You can pay him. You can pay him the league minimum. Yeah. He's getting $30 million or whatever from the Astros. So the Astros have screwed that one up. But I look at it and go, 2 years ago, the dude was batting
304.
Yeah,
and 247 last year. So not great.
Not terrible. But you look at it, and to me, if he and I don't know him.
Yeah,
he was an MVP. He was a superstar. I get it. He was amazing with the White Sox. If you pick him up and say, "Hey, we'll give you a minor league contract. You're gonna go play in Tacoma, where our AAA team is.
Yeah,
warm up, get the bat kind of going, and if you can get going, we will bring you up." Now, I don't know if his ego. DH. Yeah, I don't know if his ego will allow him to do that. Which again is totally fair. He's 3 years ago he was an MVP or whatever it was. 4 years ago he was an MVP.
Yeah, 2-time MVP too. So
he's a good baseball player. There is something with Houston that has not worked, and I say that all the time. You look at like Teoscar Hernandez. There was something in Seattle that didn't work.
Yeah,
he was pretty good in Toronto. He was okay with us. He wasn't bad. He struck out a lot, but he wasn't bad. And now obviously he's raking.
Yeah,
but that was one of my predictions. I don't know what happened. He literally has just fallen off the edge of a cliff.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. So
it's been bad. But...
I'm not shocked that they dropped him because I don't think he probably wanted to go to the AAA, which is why I don't think the Mariners will get him.
Because he did earlier, but then he got called back up and it didn't really work out. So
I don't know. But I did predict that as one of my kind of, I don't want to call it a trade, but a waiver wire type setup. Because again, he's a 2-time MVP. He's won a World Series with Houston, right?
I'm almost positive.
I'm really sure he won. Actually, was it 2 years ago? I think they won it. Wasn't last year. Who won it last year? It might have been last year. No, last year was Texas. Wasn't it 2 years ago? Because the AL West has been loaded.
2021 and 2022.
So 2022. So he did win.
I'm pretty sure
he should have won one. So he has experience, but so I don't know. It's just more what's his ego look like. If he's willing to play in the AAA for a little bit, and get better, then that's fine. But anyway, let's go to some trade predictions. What do you got?
I don't like any of them. Honestly, I looked at like all the teams. I looked at stats and like what they could see and what they could need.
Sure.
I looked at people available. The only thing I don't know. The kind of the big names that I looked at that I think that make the most sense that are most likely to get traded, whether or not they go to where I think.
Sure.
Luis Robert.
Yep.
I think he's been thrown around a lot.
Yeah,
he has a really good chance to get traded. Pete Alonso, I feel like his name has died down a little bit, but I'd say a month or so ago was pretty hot. Brent Rooker has been a name for like the past 2 years.
Well, and the other thing too, keep going, but the Mets have won 7 in a row.
I know, that's where it's like it's a weird situation with Pete Alonso.
Rooker's been that way for a while.
Tyler Anderson, the Angels are just horrible. Just get what you can get.
Yep.
And then this one I don't know, but I'd be very interested, is Garrett Crochet.
From the White Sox.
Yes. But I'll say the first one, I think Robert is going to go to the Braves. Sure. I think with Acuna out, I think that he's
Who
the
is it
only
you say?
one.
Say again?
Luis Robert. Or
Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, who's Luis? Yeah.
I just think they have a good enough roster that they're going to go in for it. I don't know why I don't see who else could really make a big enough impact. Like Rooker, I don't think is quite the impact back that they want. And Robert hasn't been fantastic this year.
Well, he's also injured,
younger.
And he's been injured. So he's coming back off injury.
So that's where I think if they're going to make a trade.
Lined one in Seattle, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, if they're going to make a trade, that's who I would see them going for.
That's fair.
I have a couple other ones, but what do you think?
I had, for Atlanta, it might be a little under the radar, not so smart, but I had Jesse Winker. He's playing well enough, batting like 266, I think. Couple home runs. Obviously, we know him all too well as a failure here, and I'm not going to bark on him. He was here for 1 year. There was nothing wrong with him.
33 RBIs.
Yeah,
so he's been solid.
And the Nationals haven't been bad, but I think the Nationals are still in the aspect of...
I think they're still a little young.
Well, they're young, but they can trade, and they could probably get a couple more prospects out of him. He's 30 years old. I don't know what his contract quite is.
I think it's a year.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a prove-it year, and he's definitely proved it. I know his last couple games he's been playing very, very, very well. So I think that's who they go for with kind of the replacement. Yeah. Again, it's a year contract. You get him. He probably is on a playoff contender. It's crazy how obviously Acuna is that good, but they have not played very well in recent weeks. They are, I believe, in second behind the Phillies by like 7 games now.
Wild.
Yeah, Phillies have been on fire. They've been really good this year. So that was mine for Atlanta, and then I will go kind of with mine, which is my big one. Okay. I think the Dodgers are going to just spend money.
See, I have a big one for the Dodgers
I hate it, and I genuinely, and this is going to be almost too much to think they're going to. I'm not going to get, but I think they would trade for Kopech.
Kopech, yeah.
Kopech, sorry, Crochet, and Roberts. Yeah, and I think they could go for all three of them because one, the White Sox have to be selling. Yeah. They have to be selling. Those two pitchers were supposed to be two aces.
Crochet's
been good. Yeah. He made us look silly the other day when I went there on like whatever one day we lost him
for my fantasy.
Yeah.
It's great.
Kopech has not been as good. Roberts again coming off an injury, but again young. Mm-hmm. I could see the Dodgers being like, yeah, here's the farm.
Yeah.
And that's not because I think the Dodgers technically like need pitching or anything, but those two pitchers are young. The Dodgers
Yamamoto is hurt, and so is Betts right now.
Betts is definitely hurt. Yeah. Pitching wise, I mean, Glass now has been pretty good. He's been pretty good. Walker Buehler is still. I don't know if Bueller's been in and out. It's funny because James Paxton's actually been pretty freaking good for them, which is annoying. Yeah. He doesn't have a great ERA, but he gets wins.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kershaw is still hurt. So
I think he comes back after the All-Star break.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be. That's just what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't be shocked. One, because the White Sox need to get rid of some of these guys because they're on contract years, or because they need to just figure something. They have to move on. And I think the Dodgers might be like, yeah, here's our top prospect, here's our third prospect, fifth prospect, 10th prospect, 11th prospect, 13th prospect.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking if the Dodgers make a move, it's going to be Crochet and Robert. That was my like big rumor because I was like, I don't know if they'll do it, but
I don't think they don't particularly need to. Obviously, yes, with Mookie Betts being out, your outfield is a little bit more. I mean, he hasn't even been playing outfield all that much. You have Teoscar Hernandez. You got Jason Hayward back. You have Chris Taylor. You have Vargas.
James Outman's been okay.
Yeah, he's been fine. I think he's hurt. I don't want to say he's been. I think he's, unless they don't have him on the active roster, because I don't think they have him on the active roster right now.
He was playing. He's played a little bit at least, but
obviously, if like life came to the living worst, you could put Ohtani out there. I know he's not supposed to be out there at all throwing or doing anything, but
yeah,
I think they could use one more outfielder depth wise. Mm-hmm. I would love him on the Mariners. I don't know what we'd have to give up. He is young. He is a good friend of Julio. Our outfield's been okay. Luke Raley's been good. Julio's been pretty average.
Yeah.
Mitch Haniger's, I didn't expect a lot out of him, to be honest. He was good to start the year. Now he's been kind of bad. Canzone's been a little bit of a disappointment to me.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be what we needed.
I thought he was going to be better. Obviously, you just picked up the young kid that was supposed to be a superstar from Nationals. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh, yes. Victor Robles.
Victor Robles, who's supposed to be really good. Obviously, he's young. It didn't work in Nationals. It could work here. Don't know. But that was my big one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't know how. I don't know. It'll be interesting because it's going to depend on, I guess, Robert's interest level.
Yeah.
Because if other teams want him, it's going to drive the Dodgers price up if they're going to really want to do a trade package like that. So
yeah, 100%.
And then the only one that I feel decent with it. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think Brent Rooker is going to be traded to the Mariners.
To the Mariners. I would love that. That's who I think I'd like the most.
Because I want Guerrero or Bichette, but it's just not going to happen. The Blue Jays just aren't there yet.
I don't think the Blue Jays want to sell yet.
Yeah. So that's where I was like, the only person that I could see the Mariners trading for that their value isn't extremely high is Brent Rooker. I was like, there's no other... Because I think Robert's too expensive.
I don't know who else would want. So, I could see the Dodgers or even the Braves maybe going for it.
Yeah.
He is 29. I don't know what his contract looks like.
It's nothing.
Yeah, but how long is it?
It's next year's arbitration.
Okay, so they'd have a couple years.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't. But yeah, so he'll get paid next year. So he's on a 1 year, $750,000.
Yeah.
He'll. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think if he can come to the Mariners, that'd be.
I think it could be good. I don't know if
I think it'd be amazing. So actually, he's an so he's got arbitration for the next 3
next year. So technically 3 years.
3 years. Oh my gosh! I mean, he's gonna get 10 plus million. Yeah. So you have to be willing to know that that's what's gonna happen. I agree. I actually have Rooker because I just hate them and they just do stupid things and they make me so upset. He's gonna go to the Yankees. Thanks for listening to the Kind of Athletic podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials and come back next week for next week's episodes.